Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is The Price of Success. And that is because today we are having the first of 2 new moons that are occurring in August. And so today's new moon is at 9 degrees of Leo. And Leos like success. They like to look successful, and they really go for success. They're sort of willing to take a gamble on that because Leo also rules gambling. But that new moon is at the 9th degree of Leo, and 9 is a finishing number. It's the highest of all the single digits. And so that is an indication that this could be a new moon, which could indicate the finishing of, say, one phase of something you're involved with, and may also indicate the beginning of another phase of something. And that is because this new moon at 9 degrees of Leo is, I think, connected to a full moon that we had in Leo earlier in the year on January 21st, about 6 months ago, when there was a lunar eclipse at 1 degree of Leo. And now today's new moon is at 9 degrees of Leo. And so since Leo rules children and sports and entertainment and love affairs, and it certainly rules having fun, and it rules gambling and horse racing, but also leadership and courage and being an entrepreneur or being very, very creative. And so this is a time when you may have finished something that you began earlier this year, perhaps around the time of the lunar eclipse. And so people could be moving in one of 2 ways right now. If they had taken a gamble on anything, then this could be a time when they are moving away from success, because if they took a gamble and it didn't pay off, they may realize by now that something had failed. Or it could be that if somebody such as yourself got an idea for a new beginning of one sort or another, and you went in and you started something fresh, and sort of, even if it didn't go right, you sort of just stuck to it, then now you could be on the verge of even greater success, because after all, this is a new moon. So the idea of finishing comes because it's at the 9th degree, but also the idea of starting something new is because it is a new moon. So the stakes are very high right now. And the reason why is that if you are a person who has been sort of trading on your past performance, which may have been successful, or you've been trading on your connections behind the scenes, or anything that you've been doing behind the scenes, and sort of thinking that that would work one more time, then you could be rather unpleasantly surprised by some sort of unexpected financial failure connected to something that you may have started earlier in the year, and since it was a gamble that didn't pay off, you may be now faced with the price of success, and because it didn't succeed, you would have to sort of pay for the failure instead. And that's because you weren't doing anything new. And that's also because these just aren't the good old days anymore, and we can't all live in the past. We do have to start new things. And for the people who are doing that, these are the people that can be heading on to something better or maybe bigger right now. So if you are a person that has been, certainly since the start of the year, since the lunar eclipse of Leo, if you have been working and studying very hard, if you have been enduring setbacks and delays, which could have been abundant this year for you, then you really could be on the verge of success. Maybe it's taken you this long just to get prepared or to work out the kinks in something and get a good idea in a form that really can work in a better way or be profitable for you. And the reason why you could be on the verge of greater success right now is because that new moon today is absolutely loaded. The sun, the new moon, and Venus are all closely conjunct in Leo, and Mars is in Leo as well. That's 4 planets there. And they are trining Jupiter, which is in Sagittarius right now. And those 5 planets are all trining the sign of Aries, which rules new beginnings. So you could sort of be ready to sort of bump something up to a new phase, which would be great. And even if there are 4 retrograde planets, Jupiter is retrograde in Sagittarius, Saturn and Pluto are retrograde in Capricorn, and Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, that all simply means that the pendulum is swinging the other way right now, back toward higher standards that must be met. And so right now, I think that whatever you may have begun earlier in the year, certainly by the time of the lunar eclipse in Leo at 1 degree, can be determining now whether you are at the finish of something or whether you are on the verge of even greater success. Either way, you will pay a price for that success. You know, either because it doesn't work or because it does work. And success requires sacrifice. That's how you become successful, is that you are willing to sacrifice. And so the main question now under today's new moon is, what can you afford? This is a very good time to be thinking about that. Okay, what does it mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries, for you, I think you're on the verge of success. And the reason why is that you've got so many planets supporting your sun sign. You really ought to give something new a try, Aries, because the sun, new moon, Venus, and Mars in Leo are trining your sun, and so is Jupiter in Sagittarius. And so even if you took a gamble during the lunar eclipse in Leo earlier in the year, you know, you may, if you had stuck with something and not traded on past successes, but instead tried something new or experimented with something or reinvented something in some way, now is the time when you could really get a boost toward a better success in one way or another. In other words, you could be over the preparatory stage and you could be sort of ready to launch. So since your sign does rule new beginnings, and most importantly, your ruler, Mars, is trining your sun, this is when, if there are people around that sort of want to help you right now, you should say yes, Aries, and get something new underway. It could be something that you have worked on for a while and you've gone through some setbacks, but that's okay because now you're over that and you can sort of zoom forward. So I really hope you go forward. Don't hesitate, Aries. The aspects are wonderful right now under today's new moon in Leo. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when you might be facing an unpleasant financial setback, and that could be due to the fact that if you had initiated anything at the start of the year close to the former lunar eclipse in Leo, right now you could see that taking a gamble on anything, which you may have done earlier in the year, has not paid off, simply because you might have tried to do the same old thing. Or you might have just, kept pushing on something thinking that, well, if I just keep pushing hard enough, it'll finally succeed. But if it involved anything that you had done before so that it was sort of like a repeat performance, I think that may not have worked out as well as it could have, and that is why you could be facing an unpleasant financial surprise. And that is because you cannot afford to take a financial risk on anything right now, Taurus, because the 4 planets in Leo under today's new moon are all squaring Uranus in your sign. And Uranus is an unstable planet, and yours is a fixed financial sign. But it gets a little worse than that, Taurus. They are also opposing the sign of Aquarius, which rules the future and can somewhat threaten the future. And they are squaring the sign of Scorpio, the other fixed financial sign. So I would say that somewhere in your life right now you are financially vulnerable, and that's why you should not take any risks right now. I wouldn't even start anything new at the moment, Taurus. Just try to hang on to your money if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, This is a time when once again there are no planets in the air signs, but oh boy, that new moon's going to do you a lot of good, Gemini, because right ahead of your sign is your ruler, Mercury, which is in Cancer, and it went direct today. And then right ahead of that, the 4 planets are in Leo. And so that means that not only is your ruler, Mercury in Cancer, sextiling your sun, but the sun, new moon, Venus, and Mars in Leo are also sextiling your sun. That's 5 planets that are all direct and moving forward right now. And that certainly is a big sign that you're going to move forward, Gemini. And you're going to do that because other people want you to. In other words, even if they have the momentum, they're sort of lighting a fire under you right now, Gemini, and really wanting you to sort of get your act together and go forward. And I think you're going to be able to do that. And on top of that, I think you're going to get some good news about a family matter or a real estate matter as well, since Mercury is now direct. So good luck and keep going. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when you too can be getting some good news about a family matter. There can be much better communication since Mercury is now direct in your sign. And also there can be better terms in some sort of real estate transaction. Or there could even be, believe it or not, Cancer, there could be some good news about an ending. Remember, your sign rules endings. And maybe that good news had been delayed for a while, but now, since it's coming through, an ending could be very fortunate for you because the new moon was right ahead of your sun sign. So you are looking at something new because the sun, new moon, Venus, and Mars are all in Leo right ahead of your sign. So you are about to be very busy, Cancer. In fact, I think you're going to be much busier in August than you're planning on being right now, but that's fine. Remember, there are 2 new moons in August, so we're all going to be doing new things. But I think that this is a very favorable time for you to make a change or for you to enlarge your efforts in one way or another. So I hope you do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, congratulations, the new moon is in your sun sign. And so that means the sun, your ruler, is there conjuncting the moon, and they're both conjuncting Venus right now. You could be in the mood for love, Leo, or you could be looking real good right now. And Mars is in your sign as well, a little bit later in the sign. And they're all trining Jupiter in Sagittarius. So if, your sign does rule gambling. If you have taken a gamble, particularly if it was initiated earlier in the year, you could be sort of looking at a finish right now because perhaps the gamble did not pay off, particularly if it was based on sort of past performance, something you'd done before that perhaps didn't sell or wasn't working out. Then, the price of success is that you have to pay for a little failure right now for a gamble that you lost. Well, that's the way it goes. But on the other hand, your sign is beautifully aspected to start something new. And this is a new moon today in your sign. So I'm not saying take another gamble. What I'm saying is start over, Leo. Try something new. And keep trying it till you get it right. You really could succeed now. Maybe something didn't work before. Well, okay, turn over a new leaf. Give it a new try. Or don't try that again, but try something else that is more original. And even if you have to sort of endure setbacks and delays, you need better education, you could get it right now and you could still be very successful in the long run. So the timing is better for you to start something new right now, Leo. That's why I hope you do it. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, there's a lot of light in the background of your life, and that is because the new moon, Sun, Venus, and Mars in Leo were all right behind your sun sign. And that simply means that there is a new beginning in your life, Virgo. It is underway, and I don't know if it is being preceded by something that didn't work out. In other words, some sort of failure that was initiated earlier in the year and was more or less like a gamble and didn't pay off. Well, if it didn't work, something else will, Virgo, because it's the lights. The sun and the moon are right behind your sun sign, shining a lot of light on your background activities, which a lot of people can see right now. But because Jupiter in Sagittarius is trining the new moon, it means you can get a lot of better support behind the scenes than you've had before. And that will really help you. And the reason why it will help you is because it will put you in a more practical position by the time of the second new moon this month, which occurs in your sign. And so something that had maybe been a little bit too pricey for you, remember we're talking about the price of success. Maybe it just didn't work out because it didn't feel right to you, but now something else can, and it could be very long lasting. So I hope you just turn around and get started on more practical things, Virgo, because don't worry, by the new moon at the end of the month, you will be in charge. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think that you can be sort of all wrapped up and ready to go, because the new moon today and the sun and Venus, your own ruler, they are all conjuncting each other, and Mars is in Leo as well, and they're all sextiling your sun. A sextile represents opportunities. So you could have an opportunity to take a gamble. I don't advise that you do that, but you could have an opportunity for a lot of summer fun, or good news about children, or enjoy sports, or have even some entertainment opportunity. So that's okay. That's not a gamble. That's just sort of enjoying yourself. So you can do that. The one thing you can't do, Libra, is you can't be extravagant right now. Nobody can. And the reason why is that the 4 planets in Leo are all squaring Uranus in Taurus. And that is why people who gamble or people who are extravagant and spend too much money right now do risk losing it. And you don't want to be in that situation. So try to just sort of have fun on a budget right now, Libra, and don't worry about too many other things. I think you're used to some of the pressures that are in your life. Why don't you escape them and just have some summer fun right now? Because the next new moon at the end of the month, it's going to be right behind your sun sign, and that one will have a really strong effect on you as well. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when you too, since yours is a fixed sign, you have to be very careful with the money. And it can be, Scorpio, that if you initiated something new, perhaps close to the January lunar eclipse in Leo, you may be looking at something that is now very expensive, maybe even too expensive for you, or it can be that it has resulted in some sort of failure or letdown. And that is because not only was that lunar eclipse squaring your sun sign, but today's new moon in Leo with 4 planets there, the sun, moon, Venus, and Mars, your own ruler, are all squaring your sun sign as well. They're opposing the sign of Aquarius, which can be a little bit threatening to our future. And they are squaring Uranus in Taurus, and that Uranus is opposing your sun sign. That's why you need to be very careful with the money. This is not a good time to spend money, Scorpio, and it's not a good time to take a gamble on anything. And so what you need to do is really conserve your financial resources, because you and all the other fixed signs, even Leo, but particularly Taurus and Aquarius as well, are going to need more money in the future. That's why you need to conserve your resources now if you can. And don't gamble on anything you are somewhat aspected to lose. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, you certainly could be really ready to launch something. You could be one of these people that is on the verge of success. Yes, Jupiter is retrograde in your sign, but oh, today's new moon is really going to sort of light a fire under you, Sagittarius, in a good way, because the sun, new moon, Venus, and Mars in Leo are all trining Jupiter in your sign. And those 5 planets are also trining the sign of Aries. This is a very good time for you to finally sort of have liftoff, Sagittarius, and get something off the ground. It may have been delayed. Maybe the first time something didn't work. I don't think that you necessarily have been taking a gamble on anything. If you have been sort of tinkering around or trying to reinvent something, or just working even on some sort of dream about making a new beginning, I'm telling you, you couldn't get better help than you could get right now, Sagittarius. So even though there are 4 retrograde planets, that simply means that standards are higher now, and they have to be met. Well, I don't think that's going to bother you, Sagittarius. So if you've got something new in mind and you've already done the prep work for it, now is the time to go for it. And don't be afraid to ask for help, because you're going to get a lot of people that probably do believe in what you want to do, and they are going to be ready to support you. So go for it. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when I think that you should sort of wait and watch. And the reason why is that the new moon today is in conjunct or 150 degrees away from your sun. You may know somebody who initiated something earlier this spring that was a little bit based on past performance or former connections, or a little pull behind the scenes. In other words, it wasn't anything new. And because these aren't the good old days, they could be looking a little bit more at an ending right now. Remember, because the new moon is at 9 degrees of Leo, and that's a finishing number, rather than a new start. So what I think you should do, Capricorn, is I think you should wait and watch, wait and see how everything is going to sort of play out in the month of August before you decide what your plan is. Even if you were going to start something new, I don't think that there is really, that this is a good time to do it. Now, when would a good time be? By the end of the month. When there is a second new moon in August, it will be in Virgo, trining your sun. That'll be around Labor Day as well. And that is a much better time to launch something. So for right now, just step back and see what happens. Because now we're going to see who's been gambling and who hasn't been. And that's, I think, what we need to know first before you can move forward. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when you, most of all, more than any of the other fixed signs, you need to be careful with the money. And you need to save, 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 Aquarius, because you're going to need it in the future. Remember, Saturn is coming into your sun sign in the next year. And that's going to put a little damper on things. But for right now, there are no planets in the air signs. There's nothing supporting your sign. And that new moon in Leo today, with the sun, moon, Venus, and Mars there, were all harshly opposing your sun sign, Aquarius. Somebody else wants to take control in your life, or somebody else wants to have their own way. It looks like they're going to get it too, Aquarius. So if I were you, I would step back right now and try to stay out of the way of somebody who is supercharged right now and moving forward, and they have support. I don't think you can beat them, Aquarius. And so if you've been taking a gamble on anything, this is the time when you would learn that you had lost. And the price of success is that you'd have to pay for that. If you don't have to pay now, it would be in the future, and that's why you need to save money. But also, these planets in Leo are not only opposing your sun sign, they're squaring Scorpio, the other fixed financial sign, and Taurus, where Uranus is. And Uranus is your own ruler. It's squaring your sun sign. You could suffer a sudden financial loss right now. That's why I'm saying not only should you not gamble, but you really need to save money. And that is for the whole rest of the year and next year as well, Aquarius. So be very careful if you can. The price of success now is going to be high for everyone, but some people can be willing to make a sacrifice and pay for that. And others who have been taking gambles are going to go broke. So I hope that's not you. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when I think that you can be in a position to relax a little bit And there can be some very good news regarding a family matter or a home matter or an ending right now. And that is because Mercury, the planet of communications, is in Cancer, and it is direct today, and it is trining your sun sign where you have Neptune. Neptune is retrograde though, and so are some other planets, indicating that if you started something at the beginning of the year that was a bit of a gamble, sort of thinking that you were going to get your own way on something, Pisces, now is a time when you may see that the gamble has not paid off, and there can be a price for that. And it might be that you are on the verge of sort of facing up to the truth about things, and it may be that you have to pay a certain price for success. If it involves a family member, I would go ahead and pay that price. That would be worth it. You are going to get some good news about either a family member, a real estate deal, or an ending that could work out to your benefit, Pisces. And I think that you should sort of just stick with that and be happy. The new moon is pretty far away from your sun sign. So I hope you haven't been taking a gamble on anything, because now is a better time for you to face the truth and heal up from something. And also, I think there's going to be a family member that's very happy and proud of you. And so you have that to look forward to as well. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see our show on our website, and you can read our blog and hear our podcast there as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.